Chapter 7, The Incident at the Window, the shortest chapter ever. This video should be under 5 minutes. It chanced on a Sunday when Mr. Utterson was on his usual walk with Mr. Enfield. Hey, this goes right back to Chapter 1. You remember when Enfield and Utterson take this Sunday constitutional together? That's when we heard the story of a door from Enfield, so it's the first time he's come back into the story. That their way lay once again through the by-street. Apparently they take a similar walk every time. And that when they came in front of the door, both stopped to gaze at it. "Well," said Enfield, "and that's the story. That story's at an end, at least. We shall never see more of Mr. Hyde." "I hope not," said Utterson. "Did I ever tell you that I once saw him and shared your feelings of repulsion?" "It was impossible to do the one without the other," returned Enfield. "And, by the way, what an ass you must have thought me not to know this was the back way to Dr. Jekyll's. It was partly your own fault that I found out, even when I did." "So you found it out, did you?" said Utterson. "But if that be so, we may step into the court and take a look at the windows. To tell you the truth, I am uneasy about poor Jekyll, and even outside I feel as if the presence of a friend might do him good." The court was very cool, and a little damp, and full of premature twilight, although the sky high up overhead was still bright with sunset. This is some imagery that may be symbolic, twilight and sunset. If we're talking about the day as a life cycle, maybe there's a little bit of like death imagery or something going on here. Let's see. The middle one of the three windows was halfway open, and sitting close beside it, taking the air with an infinite sadness of mien, like some disconsolate prisoner, Utterson saw Dr. Jekyll. "What, Jekyll?" he cried. "I trust you are better." "I am very low, Utterson," replied the doctor drearily. "Very low. It will not last long, thank God." "You stay too much indoors," said the lawyer. "You should be out, whipping up the circulation like Mr. Enfield and me. This is my cousin, Mr. Enfield, Dr. Jekyll. Come now, get your hat and take a quick turn with us." "You are very good," sighed the other. "I should like very much to. But no, it is quite impossible. I dare not, but indeed, Utterson, I am very glad to see you. This is really a great pleasure. I would ask you and Mr. Enfield up, but the place is really not fit." "Why then," said the lawyer good-naturedly, "the best thing we can do is to stay down here and speak to you from where we are." "And that is just what I was about to venture to propose," returned the doctor with a smile. But the words were hardly uttered before the smile was struck out of his face and succeeded by an expression of such abject terror and despair as froze the very blood of the two gentlemen below. They saw it but for a glimpse, for the window was instantly thrust down. But that glimpse had been sufficient, and they turned and left the court without a word. In silence, too, they traversed the by-street, and it was not until they had come into a neighboring thoroughfare, where even upon a Sunday there were still some stirrings of life, that Mr. Utterson at last turned and looked at his companion. They were both pale, and there was an answering horror in their eyes. "God forgive us, God forgive us," said Mr. Utterson. But Mr. Enfield only nodded his head very seriously and walked on once more in silence. And that's the end of the chapter. What just happened? We can add this to the list of evidence. They're talking to Jekyll, and Jekyll is like some disconsolate prisoner inside his own house. They're talking to him at the window, and then, let's look at these words again. The smile was struck out of his face, so he was smiling, and then the smile struck out of his face and succeeded by an expression of such abject terror and despair as froze the very blood of the two gentlemen below. So suddenly Jekyll has an expression on his face that's terrifying and full of despair, and it chills the blood of Enfield and Utterson. They saw it but for a glimpse, for the window was instantly thrust down. So immediately, as soon as his expression changes to one of horror, slam, down goes the window. But that glimpse had been sufficient. And then they leave, and all we get is that they say, "God forgive us, God forgive us." So what did they see? What could have been happening there? That incident of the window seems important. All right, we'll end this video here and move on to the next one.